Hey guys, so welcome to season two. We're excited to be here. We've learned so much from season one. Season one was a blast. We decided to just jump in without really much warning, right, Cheryl? We just was like, we're gonna make a podcast, right?
Yeah. Isn't it wild that we did that? That we just said we took a month going back and forth of getting started and then just did it and learned as we went. So I'm very excited about season two and using all the knowledge we learned from all the ups and downs we had last season. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting.
Well, right. And so originally we're like, we're travel agents. We're gonna have a travel podcast. And we do. And it is a good travel podcast. And we've touched upon so many different topics and travel trends and booking trips and bucket list destinations. But really, what we are excited about season two is just diving deeper into the journey of life because life is about travel and it's about transformations and where you want to go in life. And so I think that the focus on having it be a tool for navigating your life transitions is an amazing idea, whether it's career changes, personal growth, overcoming any kind of challenges you have, or just finding joy in new places to travel or traveling outside your comfort zone, right? How many times have I done that this year? I mean, I'm a pansy. I know I'm a wallflower. I get it. But not just travel, but just life, just reaching out beyond your comfort zone. I think we're going to focus
Right.
a little bit more on that this year. We're still going to have plenty of travel. There's, trust me, we're going to have
Yeah. It
tons
was,
of travel.
yeah, because it was interesting how when we decided to start it last year, we were like, all right, we love to travel. We're travel agents. Let's do a travel podcast. But what we saw was we really liked the adventure of everything, everything. And it was so much more than just the destinations, the travel. It was like we've been through a lot this past year. Just our lives have changed. You know, we
Life
all are
is a
going,
journey. It's all about
yes.
travel. Like
And
not just
it
where your vacations are, but just your travel in life is what we're kind of
Right. And we
gleaning.
were talking so much more outside of during the planning sessions and everything. We were just talking about life and t travel usually started it, but then it turned into life. And then so we're like, why don't we bring this to the podcast this year or this season? And Denise had an epiphany the other day. And we were actually pre-interviewing a guest for season two. And
Yeah.
she said, life is a journey. And I wrote it down because and she talked about life as a journey and how we just enjoy traveling through it and travel so important and so relevant and has so much of an effect on you. I wrote down, I was like, this is it. This is what we've been talking about for the whole month of September that we were off work. We weren't off because we were still working, but we were trying to brainstorm and grow. And I wrote down life is a journey, travel with the divas. And then she came up with putting all of our words, all of our thoughts that we have been going over and over for a month into our outline for this episode. And it finally clicked that we were going to embrace being on this weird journey of life while
Yeah.
we're taking an adventure and travel. And that was so amazing. It clicked. We're so excited about the direction this season's going to go. And I'm excited. So tell us, or tell them rather, Denise, some of the things we got to look forward to for this season.
Yeah, again, so whether like when we originally started like, okay, let's take this trip or let's book this trip, like
Mhm.
but then we're like after we're talking about the whole travel thing, you can talk about life is a journey and it can be a career change whether you're deciding to become a travel agent. I mean, that's what we did. We decided to become travel agents.
Because our
Whether
lives were changing. That was the
right.
other thing. We were both going through something and we were looking for something and travel. That was what we did anyway. And that fell in. And then this fell in. So yeah.
Right. Yes. And last year was great. It was great, but it was a lot of work. We didn't know what we were getting into. So we created content every week. this season we're going to a biweekly format, so every other week. We're gonna throw it things in there like mini episodes. We're gonna do reels. I found reels work really good. A lot of people only have like 30, 45 seconds of their day to just like
Well,
check
and
in
then
with us.
the other thing we were finding is we were doing so much that didn't fit into the episodes because it was life. It was what we were doing. So those ended up being, we just kind of started creating little reels and little snippets from. And when we were discussing how to move forward for this season, it was like, okay, let's make this a part of it and be proactive and be what's the word? Just be not relevant, but
Present in the moment.
present.
So
Yeah, in the
what I
moment.
will say, so I mean, we're moms. You're an empty nester. Your children
Mhm.
are a little bit older than mine. I'm almost an empty nester. I have a senior graduating early in December. I'm so proud of him. He's in all honor classes. He's
Yes.
working his tail off to do this. But he's also socially awkward, has anxiety, as many of you may understand with your children, especially COVID. Anybody that went through transitioning your children through COVID and going to school through
Yes.
the online phase, that was very, very hard for him. So we don't have cookie cutter families, and we're not trying to make pretend that we do. So I think part of what we talk about is the life experiences that we're going through, um and I think that makes it just all that more relatable. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about packing for a vacation and going on vacation and am I going to Italy this year? I think a lot of what our life consumes and being able to put this podcast together is navigating where we are in life, in marriage. I mean, we're
Right.
both at the point where we're 20 years into a marriage, and it's not easy,
20
folks, as
plus
we know.
years.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to even try to sugarcoat it. Marriage is difficult. Some of us have made it 20 years. Some of us have, we've seen friends through awful divorces. We've seen friends through awful challenges that their kids have been consumed for different disorders, mental wellness, eating disorders, whatever. We've been here together as friends for 20 plus years, and that entails a lot of lifing. We're just
We,
kind of trying to bring you on the journey with us, you know?
yeah, because when we kicked off this podcast last year, I was going through, I guess you call it the new phase of life. I was an empty nester. My
Yeah.
youngest had gone off to college. She was a decent drive away, so she could still come home, but it was a big deal.
Like,
And
not when I
our old,
packed my bags from Maine and flew down to North Carolina, never to be seen again.
yeah, so she having her move out after because her older sister had moved out, she's already graduated college and moved out and has been on her own for quite a bit. And then having the youngest move out was like I was floundering a bit. It's a big deal to go from to transition. It is a transition
Yeah, for sure.
from being the full-time mom to, okay, now what? And we've talked about this, and we are going to talk about this in the upcoming season, how
Yeah.
our identities change throughout our life and how that affects what we do. But the podcast and the travel and being a travel agent and all the people that we've been able to meet and all the places we've been able to go has kind of helped me start
Giving
to
you
realize
some
who
kind
I
of,
am.
yeah,
Yeah, getting back to who I
sense of
was
you
outside of being the wife
after
and the
Mama
mom.
Bear. Yeah,
Yes, so that's
I get
been
it.
a really amazing journey, and
Yeah.
it's definitely so travel is and just the lifestyle of travel and all of the things that encompass it is has been a big part of my life for quite a bit.
Yeah. So share a personal story, because we're talking about having a turning point in your life, because life is a journey. So what is a turning point in your life that you've been on some kind of trip that's impacted your life? What would you say? Like, can you give me an example of that?
I would say this past year, changing moment or aha moment or some type of recognition moment for me where things were different in my life, where travel was going to be different. I had two big moments. One was when we went to New York City on our way to our MSC cruise. But New York City has been a bucket list item for me and my
Mm-hmm.
daughters for years. It's somewhere we wanted to go to. We've talked about it. We've just never been able to plan it. So the fact that you and I got to do that, I was so excited, but I also felt so much guilt because I was doing this without my girls and I had planned to do this with them, but they were out doing their own things and
You
I
can't
understood that.
ever
And
just wait though. You can't. What I will say
right.
for that is for you, I'm glad that you jumped on board and you can't wait because tomorrow's never promised. So just
Well,
keep
and
making those plans.
they were happy for me and they were excited. I told them the stories. And granted, we were only there for 24 hours, but it was still an amazing adventure and they were rooting me on. And it started to make me see, okay, travel's going to be different. And then the second trip of last year that I realized my travel was going to be different for me was when my husband and I went on our annual beach trip. Or not, it's not always the beach, but we do an annual trip every year that he pretty much plans. And the girls were upset that it wasn't a family trip like it usually was.
Yeah.
And not in not in a huge way, but we had a discussion about it. They're like,
You
we
can't get them to
realize,
come out of their room for the dinner table, but they want to be on a trip 5 years later.
well, yeah, we haven't had dinner together in a while. Like it just made me, we
It's
realized when we
funny
were
though.
discussing it
Yeah.
that our last family vacation was 2019 and we had one scheduled. We had several trips scheduled in 2020 and that fell apart. We didn't
Yeah.
realize our
COVID. Like
last,
we canceled everything.
well,
We canceled our
yeah,
Clearwater.
but
Yeah.
we
Everything
didn't
was canceled.
realize our last family trip was our last family trip where we were the parents and they were still the kids. And I say that in quotations because now they're adults. But and even the oldest was an adult at the time, but she was, I think so, yeah, she was still living, she
But
was in
that's
college or
the
whatever.
plight of a mom or of a parent. You don't know when your last is going to be your last. And it's kind of like
Yes.
bittersweet. You know what I'm saying?
So again, but that's so different. It made me realize that so much has changed. Now I've gone on trips with my girls individually, and we have plans differently. But it made
Yeah,
me realize that type of travel is different. And now, their significant others are in the picture, so it's never going to be the four of us again. And that
correct.
was slightly bittersweet.
It is. And we always welcome the new members, but you
Absolutely, I
never
love
do
right.
know when the
Yeah,
last family Christmas card. I never knew that little mini photo session I booked was the last family Christmas card we're probably ever going to do together.
right.
You don't, you just never know when the last is. So keep every moment
So
present,
take the trip. It
precious.
doesn't
Yes,
matter. Take it, do
yes.
it, experience it.
Take the
But what
trip,
about you?
take the
What trip
pictures.
last year was a big impact, has some type of impact on your life's journey that
Okay, so for last year, I would absolutely say the MSC cruise, we did not know what we were getting into. Like you're a fairly new agent, and I was your mentor, so I'm supposed to be guiding you through this, but we were offered a free cruise, and this is not a cruise line that we really worked with or have ever been on. So we jumped in and we were
which is
there
what we
for it.
do.
We
We
do
sometimes
this.
just jump in without prep or thinking.
Mother Nature was not on our side at all. Um, and it was an adventure. It absolutely was an adventure. I don't regret it. I would never take it back. We met amazing people. We still talk to people that we met on the cruise ship back then.
Right.
It's like almost a year later. Um, but yeah, that the MSC cruise was an adventure. One another another trip that I would say was transformational that affected my life was when I went up to Maine with Reese. When my mom died on my birthday, Reese was 2, almost 3. Then we went the following fall back. It was awful weather. Again, Mother Nature can be cruel. Our flight kept being delayed and delayed and delayed. At that point I had a almost 3-year old and I was traveling up to Maine by myself with Reese. Our flight became canceled after like 8 hours of being in an airport with Reese. My flight was canceled. I'm a basket case anyway because it's about my mom and we're going back about my mom. They never
Right.
offered us any vouchers. I'm just on my own. I've packed snacks and prepared as much as I can. I wasn't part of the Suitcase Divas podcast back then. So I just had
You didn't have a go
my
bag?
random go bag, if you'll call it, was just some snacks for Reese. And we ended up, when the last flight canceled, which was after 9 p.m., they said that they hired a taxi and we could drive from Newark, New Jersey up to Maine. It's like a
Ooh.
5-6 hour drive by a taxi. Maybe not that long, but it ended up being, because guess what? I asked them, can you provide a car seat? They found the oldest,
Oh.
shittiest car seat. I don't even think it was probably legal, honestly. And
Mm.
so I'm now traveling with my child by myself. And it's now like 10, 11 o'clock at night, and we're driving on the side of the road. We break down in like Boston, Massachusetts. The car has like given up flat tires. Something's checked out. So we have to hire a backup person to come, and then we transfer
Oh.
all our shit over to there. I ended up with Reese back at like 3 o'clock a.m. in Bangor International Airport through via multiple taxi services. But that was like probably a very, like, that journey to go back to my mom's memorial by myself, which I don't do well with a
Right.
toddler. Like, that was that was definitely a turning point for me, is traveling on your own with a small child. That was definitely one of those make it or break it moments, and I had to make it. But yeah, so I know we all have journeys that have been difficult for us. So I think that's part of the travel, though. It's part of what makes you stronger and gives you more resources. And that's why we do this podcast, to be like, pack snacks, do this. This is what you should do.
Well, and we both have, like you said, I love what you said earlier about us not having cookie cutter families because we don't. And
We
nobody,
don't.
I don't think anybody does anymore. And I love that. I love the diversity of families now. Part of the life's journey is also including some form of travel. And it doesn't have to be, when we talk about travel, guys, it doesn't have to be exotic trips. It doesn't have to be
No,
miles
it's
away. It
not
can be
all
in your backyard.
inclusives. It's not.
But there are proven facts about how having travel planned, how having parts of travel in your life, how having things to look forward to, a vacation or a destination, whether it is an hour from your house or not, however far it is, just having that plan. There are studies. Denise, tell us about the studies, because I know we were chatting about this earlier.
Well, so I do have a degree in psychology. Thank you very much, UNC. Um, but what I will tell you from Psychology Today is the mere thought of a vacation can ignite the feel good neurotransmitters, which is dopamine, which is all that good stuff, which fuels your reward motivated behavior and infuses a delightful cocktail of excitement and anticipation. And also, serotonin comes into the mix.
Mhm.
So it regulates our mood, our appetite, our sleep. It soothes our brains, and it also shines during vacations. We're in a relaxed state. Our worries fade away, just like a morning mist. Like, if you have a trip planned, you're going to be a happier individual and a healthier individual. So booking travel and planning trips, whether it's across the pond or whether it's a camping trip. And we've got
Right.
a beach girls trip coming up next weekend.
We do.
I'm
Yes.
super stoked for that. I can already feel my endorphins kicking
Yes.
in. So I will just say, it doesn't have to be a big trip, people, but plan a trip. Whether it's a camping trip in your backyard,
Or a
whether
day trip. It doesn't have to
whether it's
be.
a girls' lunch meetup or a dude's lunch meetup, it's got to be plans. You're making plans to do something exciting, and that's what gives you the endorphins, and that's what makes you happy. So
Yeah.
you don't have to plan an all inclusive, but just doing a few things within a month just to get you out of the house and meeting
Mhm.
up with other people that you can communicate with.
Or I will say, even a solo trip. If you are
You can
planning,
do a solo trip,
yes, don't
but
because
I
some
would
of that,
also focus on meeting new people while you're out there. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. But I always am like, extend the olive branch. You could meet the most amazing person. I'm not, you may think that I'm an extrovert, and I would say I am, but I'm an extrovert slash introvert. Because Cheryl, am I kind of shy? Like
No, I would have never said you
you
were
would
shy.
never say that. Because in a group of people, I'm not the first person that would go out onto the dance floor. I'm not the first person that would
Yes,
raise
you
my hand.
are.
No,
You are
I'm not.
yes,
I
you
would not
are.
say that I am. I would not say that I am. Like,
Yes.
I feel like there's always somebody else that I would rather jump in
Go
and answer
first.
the question before me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe I look like I'm an extrovert, but I'm kind of an introvert on the like I'm being the extrovert, but I'm pushing myself to be the extrovert.
Yeah.
Um so
That's okay. That's interesting. I would have never said you were an introvert at all. Yeah, you're
yeah,
adventurous. You are, you do say a lot that you're the pansy ass and stuff, but you are adventurous. You do circle the room. You talk to everybody. You make sure everybody's spoken to and has had some type of connection. So you make the rounds and do that in a
I
room for
do. I
sure.
do. And I don't always, I will say this, I don't want to be the center of attention. That you can, like, if we're in happy hour and we're just fucking
I was about to say
no,
I
no,
love you,
no.
but you
You
are
can't
the
base this
center.
around, you can't base this around a group of
Okay,
people that
well,
we know.
again, when we travel, one, it's either with groups of people that we know, or two, it's you and I. And of the two of us, you're the more extrovert in
You
an
think?
environment.
I
A
always
hundred
think you're the
percent.
most extroverted. It's so funny that we're
No.
talking about this.
Yeah.
So funny. Hmm.
That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Well, we will maybe have to bring this up on another episode and talk about who do you travel, which we actually did talk about this with one of the guests, the pre-interviews we did, the different types of travelers.
See, she
And
thought I was the wallflower and you're the extrovert. She
no,
got that.
she didn't. You're cautious. There's a difference. Now
I
there,
am
so this,
cautious.
look, I'm writing this down. Different types of travelers and different types of personalities. And do they match? Does your personality match the way you travel? And I would say no, they don't. I would say for you and I, they don't, because I think you're the more extrovert, outgoing person, but you're the least likely to take the risk up front. Whereas I'm kind of like waiting, but I'm the first one to jump in and be like, all right, I will climb that tower. I will do whatever.
This
So
is
it's
like
interesting.
I love this right now for us
I'm writing this down. I don't know why I'm writing it down. We're recording it. Never mind.
because you, to me, you are like the leader. Like, you are the one that's like fly by the seat of my girl type of pants.
But
I'll
I'm
show you
prepped.
what to
Like
do.
I it's still with caution. It's still well, that's so again, it's a contradiction. So this is interesting, but
All
I
right, we're
do
not gonna, this is a whole nother
dive deep
episode
into
for
that.
another day.
Yes.
We will dive
I
into
do.
this further, but how fucking amazing is this that we just had this epiphany, because we both think that we're the leaders, and that we're, I would call, I don't know, man. I
All
feel
right,
like,
table it.
yeah.
We're going to table this for another
Whoop.
episode. We're going to deep dive into
Okay.
personality types and traveler types and see if they match. Are they different? Are they compatible? So I was going to write this down, but since we're recording it, remind me, I'm going to go back and put this on our list for an upcoming episode. So there's a sneak peek. So there's a sneak peek of one of the episodes we have coming up that we just came up with, but we also have some other amazing things coming up new this season. One of those is you can leave us voicemails now. We would love
Yes,
to
I'm so
hear.
excited.
Yes, we really want to hear from you guys because we do get the messages. But now on our website, on our socials, you'll see all the links and we'll drop it in the notes of this episode. You are there, you can go and I think the tab on on our website says leave us a message. If you click on that, you can actually leave us a voice message. We do have question topics that are also going to be coming up throughout some episodes. We have one for today. We'll get to that in just a second. But you can go on there and leave a message that answers the topic question or give us a story if you have a travel story. We want to hear from you.
We want to hear from you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you are not up to leaving your voice, because I know it took me a while and I hate the sound of my voice. I really hate
I
editing
don't like my
sometimes.
voice either, but I've
It's
heard
so
other people
funny.
say it's delightful. And
Yeah.
I like
So,
voices and I love your voice.
oh, thank you. I do think moving the microphones closer to us is going to make it better, but
You're making me hold my microphone like
I
I'm on The
am. I was
Voice
like,
or
pick up your
something. I'm
microphone
just
this
like,
time, Denise.
okay,
We're going to
okay.
figure this out because the video looks very entertaining because we're both literally holding microphones, but I think it's going to sound better than we're not so. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But if you don't want to hear your voice or you don't want your voice put on the podcast, you can fill out the form
You can
that
fill
will
out the
also
text
be,
form because we still want to hear from you.
yeah. We do have the form that you can submit. It will be on our website, suitcasedivas.com. It will also be in our socials, Facebook, Suitcase Diva podcast, and then a couple others. You can find our links there. But you can always email us as well at let's go there at suitcasedivas.com. So this season, we want to interact with you. So make sure you're using that. Leave us a voice message or submit your stories in writing to our form on our website or through our email. But we are
Yeah,
super excited about that.
that is absolutely fabulous, Cheryl. Thank you for setting that up. But yeah, we do want to hear from you guys, even if it's just like everyday random like everyday random stuff or travel. Like I'm in traffic, I'm in rush hour traffic, and send us a picture of a funny license plate. Send us a
Oh,
picture
yes.
of it, or send us something funny on the radio if you're going to screen capture that. Like we want to, we listen to War of the Roses. I don't know if you have this. Every day when I take Alex to school, it's War of the Roses. And it's a kind of a stupid concept. It's like, is he cheating on me? Is she cheating on me? And they have this fake subscription to You Won, we're a grassroots organization, you won flowers, who do you want to give them to? They're romantic flowers. They're
Mhm.
usually cheating, just FYI. This is the way it works. Sometimes it's a guy with a girl. Sometimes last week it was a guy with his physical trainer,
Oh,
his trainer.
personal trainer? Yeah.
Yeah, he sent the flowers to him. You never know what you're gonna get. At the end of the day, the point is send us anything
Send us what,
juicy, good
yeah.
gossip, because
But
like
we
we
do
like
have a
to spill the
topic.
tea. But
So,
right.
yeah, this week or this episode, this month, whenever, I don't know when we're going to compile them and put them in episode. We haven't planned that far ahead, but we do have a prompt. We would like you to send us your stories on a travel or a trip that was a pivotal moment that transformed your perspective or helped navigate your life change. How did travel impact you, whether you were on a trip and you had an aha moment or planning the trip because of something that happened? And then, like, what was your eat, pray, love moment? I guess that would be kind of like what we're
Okay,
asking. Let
I
us
get
know a
you.
little bit about that, and you can submit that either through the voicemail, which is on our website, or through the email or our socials.
Absolutely. And if you have not read Eat, Pray, Love, it's just like give us your
Maybe we
most
should do
pivotal.
something about that. Eat, pray, love. I'm sure people know what Eat, pray, love is, but I think
Not
that would be a good
everybody's read
topic.
it though. I get
Or
that.
watch the movie. It was a movie.
And I didn't
So,
watch the movie nor have
oh,
I read the
yeah.
book. So I'm just in that camp of if you don't know what
But
that.
did you know what I meant by eat, pray,
No,
love
I
or
knew what
no?
you meant. I knew what
Oh,
you
okay.
meant.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant,
So,
but
okay.
I'm just
Well,
saying
I
that.
was going to reference actually the Gilmore Girls episode or the
See,
seasons
again, I
when
don't know Gilmore
exactly.
Girls,
I
so
figured
you
because
can
Lorelai went
reference
on
that and
her.
I'll just follow along, but I don't know what that
Yeah.
is.
Lorelai went on her Eat, Pray, Love moment, but I thought more people would know the Eat, Pray, Love. But anyway, neither here nor there. So we do have some amazing upcoming episodes
We
as
do.
well
We
as
have
upcoming
so
trips.
many
So
guys. And thank you guys all for reaching out because we've had people that are in the industry, whether they're authors, whether they're podcast hosts, whether they own their own businesses, people are reaching out to us to say, we want to be on your podcast and we want you to be on our podcast. So please
yes.
reach out to us. If you have an idea or if you have a business that you think
Or a
is,
story, or you just want to chit chat and hang
we
with
would
us. We
love to have you on
absolutely are
our
fine with
podcast.
that.
We'd love to interview you. We are here to bring joy to everybody. And that's like sharing your experiences, your travels, your life
Life
experiences. That's what we're here
journeys.
for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
here for it. So you know how to reach out. Cheryl's just given you all of the different ways, and we'll put it in the link so that you guys have a way to reach out to us. But thank you guys. We're excited for season 2. We are so excited
Yep.
that you guys have checked in for season 1, and we're so excited for season 2. There's going to be so many different opportunities and things that we're doing. So stay on board with us, and I look forward to being here every other week and
Yes.
also in between. And if you guys have great ideas, give them to us. We'd love to have them. Suitcase Divas is looking forward to just growing with you and growing with us.
Going on an adventure.
Yeah,
We're just looking
let's
forward
go
to the
there.
journey.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for hanging, guys.
Have a great week. We look forward to seeing you in the future.
Bye. That was funny. I love the because it was like Ron Burgundy out. Do you know that reference? But that's exactly or stay classy, Sid.
Stay classy, San Diego.